Hi, Jeff Munn, creating extraordinary futures. How happy do you want to be? Why do I ask that? Because I run into people over and over and over again who have chances to be happy, who have things show up in their lives that would make them happy, that would make them feel more fulfilled, more in flow, more on purpose, whatever words you want to use. And they say no to them over and over and over again. In fact, they they kind of know they're saying no. And when I explore this with people, they will recognize it in retrospect, but in the moment, that idea that they could be happy, that this thing that they've wanted for a long time is actually offering themselves up to them, offering itself up to them on a platter sometimes, that the door is opening and all they need to do is walk through it, it terrifies them. And the stories begin to tell themselves in their mind, what if this, what if that, I don't know if this, this really bad thing could happen. If I take this new job, I could fall on my face. If I move across the country, it may be a horrible mistake. And all those things, I guess on one level are true because they are possibilities, but that doesn't mean they're going to happen. And that doesn't mean that you're not just making them up in the moment. So we do this over and over again. We make up things to scare ourselves, and we think those things are real. I dealt with this a fair amount in my own journey. I was laid off in 2016. I had been thinking about going out on my own as a coach for a long time. I kept telling myself, once I work 2 more years, once I've vested in these benefits, once I'm entitled to this much when I leave, I will take the plunge. And instead I was laid off, and I had a decent package. It really was, if I thought about it rationally, it was like the universe was saying, you say you want to try this coaching thing. Here's everything you need. Are you going to do it? And I ultimately decided to do it, but not without about a month of panic and thinking, oh, I'm going to set up a consulting business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I see this opportunity to establish a business totally unrelated to coaching, totally related to my old subject matter expertise in healthcare. And it was a good friend who metaphorically shook me by the shoulders and said, what are you doing? You've been talking about this coaching thing for a long time. Why don't you do that? And the reason that I hadn't considered it was I was convinced I couldn't make a full-time living coaching. I had written a story that I was now believing, and that story was about practicality. It was about what other people have done. It was about, this is a thing that's going to make you happy, so it can't possibly be right. And if you dig into those stories, right, one after the other, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, all the way back to my seeing my dad working, and he was always working. He always either, when he was not working, he was doing things like mowing the lawn and painting the house, or he was sitting watching a Cubs game with paperwork on his lap. So I had these messages that you had to be working all the time. And he would say things to me like, well, there's a reason they call it work. So you had to be working all the time. And you better not be happy about it, because then it's not really work. And it took a lot of years of seeing that I had innocently made all that up, that um, that I could be happy, that for me the journey was, as I became more and more of myself, as I became more and more honest about who I was and what I believed and what I saw in the world and shared that with people, the coaching business actually blossomed. Even in developing a coaching business, I wrote stories in my head around what I thought people would pay for and how they wouldn't hire me as a coach unless I did certain things or promised certain things or said certain things. And while I was doing that, I really struggled. And then as I got more honest about what I actually saw, how we're creating it all, right? We're creating out of thought our world, and then treating it as if it's real. And it can be incredibly beneficial. I know it's been beneficial for me to have another person look at that with me and help distinguish between, well, what is real and what's actually stuff you're making up. And close to 100% of it is made up. So when I ask, how happy are you willing to be? My experience is you're already happy. You consciously delay that happiness in the misguided attempt to create things in the world that you think will make you happy. We've got it totally backwards. And I apologize if you can hear there's some ice, there's snow on the house, and we're in that kind of reheating phase where the ice is falling off the house. You know, the snow is shifting on the roof and then falling off. Which, interestingly enough, is a lot like this process of seeing, right? It's not like it gradually fades away. It falls off in chunks. All of a sudden we get, oh, that person that I was making up to be a jerk, they act like a jerk because I treat them like a jerk. I expect them to be a jerk. That goal that I had to prove myself, I'm kind of okay the way I am already. So what do I really want to do? When we see and settle in to who we already are, then we get to decide, what do I really want to do? And that part is really, really cool. I'd love to hear what you see. Play with this a little bit. Look at it. See if you can identify what's you're thinking and what's real. And if what you think is real is actually your thinking, then what would you do? Have fun, and I'll see you next time.